Hello, once again. This is Frank the Taper coming to you live from the bedroom. Episode 14. All right, well, all sanded. About an hour and a half. You sand everything down. Everything is rubbed down. Went around, touched up. Some of the corners, like right up there in that corner there. You see a little bit of gray in there. Yeah, just touched it up, a little empty, put a little more bud in there. That's what you do. You go around afterwards, touch up a little bit there, corner up there. Everything looks good. Everything is smooth as silk. Ready for prime. I usually don't prime my work. The painter usually comes in. Sometimes I do. But here's a tip. Don't be cheap with the primer. Lay it on there. Because you got, like I said, in this job, you got this sheetrock here. This sheetrock's been like this for 40 years. If you see the surface up close, see these dots and stuff? Hey man, this thing was rocked in 1987. So, you know what? Prime it good. Prime it twice. But don't be cheap with the primer. Don't run that roller out and dry it out, man. Lay it on there, because you're going to need it. Between the sheetrock and then the compound, really going to need it. So this room is officially done. Okay? Now coming into the bathroom, which I did here on the bottom of the tub. Set and coated that there on the bottom of the tub. In that godforsaken corner there. Did the beads, right? Coated the beads right here. Smooth a baker. That's $89 I've ever spent in my life. This bead here, all second coated from top to bottom. And the same thing with this one. Top to bottom. And this one here from top to bottom. These inside corners will hit next time so we don't gouge out the other side. This is done here and that is done inside. But this part here we have to do, but I'm gonna wait till this side dries and then do that side so everything looks nice and tight. Up here, some of the corners were a little empty. So I filled them up a second time. You can see that because they're empty. They recessed in, they pulled in because of the gaps. So instead of giving it 3 coats, you gotta give the corner that one there 4 coats. That's all. You gotta do what you gotta do to make everything right. So even though traditionally it's a 3-coat job, hey, you might have to do 5 at some times, you might have to do 4. You do what you need to do to get the seam and the job correct. But it's 3 standard coats. Standard. Now, you have different circumstances where you have to, do more. And there's also a 5-step process, 5 coats, which is actually called an imperial coat. That's when you do your standard 3 coats, rough, second coat, and your 3rd coat, or your polished coat. And then you do a skim coat, up and down, vertically, and when that dries, you do a horizontal coat, skim coat, back and forth, horizontal. Then you rub that down. That's called an imperial coat. It's a 5-coat process. And I would only use that. I used that, I think, one time when I was doing a storefront, and the front was glass, and it was a lobby, and they had like a trophy case with awards and things in it. And the sun would come in. When the sun would rise, it would come in and go right through that front glass and shine down the corridor walls where the awards were, being, put up, and the wall looked like utter crap. So on that job, I actually did an imperial coat so the walls would be perfectly level, and when the sun hit it and cast a shadow, you couldn't see nothing. But it took a lot of work and a lot of effort, but it was in the lobby of a building. And I told the guy that had the job, was contracting, I said, I gotta do this or else this is gonna be the worst looking lobby in the neighborhood. And so we got the extra material, we did the imperial coat, and everything was fine. So sometimes the job dictates what you need to do. So some things are not always standard. So you have to be ready for anything. Anyway, so the bedroom now is done. The bathroom now is about, I'd say, at least 60, 70% done. and then this job will be complete. And then we move on to something else and start the process all over again. So stay tuned, because it ain't over yet. And episode 15 will be coming to you soon. Thanks for watching. I told you guys, it's very repetitive and not very exciting. So, you know, it's actually borderline boring. But hey, you know what? I get paid pretty good, so who's complaining? See you guys next time. God bless. Bye.